Welcome to Keep It Humane, the podcast,
where we talk about animal control, shelters, and animal welfare, and the people doing the work.
with your hosts,
Ashlee Bishop.
And sometimes Ashlee Bishop.
and Daniel Ettinger, helping people help animals. Welcome back to, so we have to redo the intro because
We do.
you are no longer sometimes Wisconsin Bishop. She is full-time Wisconsin Bishop.
Full-time Wisconsin Bishop.
Welcome
I've always
back.
been full-time Wisconsin Bishop.
Welcome back to Keep It Humane, the podcast, brought to you by keepithumane.com. You know, there's a lot of exciting things happening on keepithumane.com. It should be out now because we're recording a little bit in the future or in the past. I don't know how that works, but I created a new course, guys. This is called Why One Number Can't Define Animal Welfare. And it's about an hour-long e-learning course that is all about what you would think it's about. So please check that out. At
What is it about, Dan? What is it
Tell
about?
us. I don't think we know.
It's about why one number can't define animal welfare. It really goes into, I don't think a lot of people understand how the no-kill movement even started. I think a lot of people just put blame into, I'll just say Best Friends Animal Society for them being the founder of no-kill. They're not. They just have really been a steward of the terminology and maybe some of the ideology. And so this goes into that, like how it started. What is it? Like, how does it define? There's no true definition of it. It's a really fun, interactive. It's about an hour long. It's really affordable. So please check that out at keepithumane.com. Also check out the Cat 2 Challenge. We need more people buying those stickers so we can help support spay and neuter services through Fix the Future with Bissell Pet Foundation. And then also don't forget about the certified animal control professional. And if I can't look at you two laughing, if you're not watching on YouTube, the bishops over here are just smirking it up right now. And that is good
because of your shirt.
Well, it just says it's from Tri-City Animal Shelter out.
Oh, all I saw was the Friends. And I
Well,
was like, we just need to add one more word to it.
That's all you got to do. No, this is from Tri-City Animal Shelter down in Tri-City, Texas, right outside of Dallas, Texas. So yeah, that's what we got going on. What's up with y'all, ladies?
It's hot, y'all. It's too damn hot. It was like 100 degrees the other day. I can't. And it's just going to get worse because like our August, September is like the worst part of our heat. But the golf has been pretty active too. So I'm hoping that later in the season, we'll see. We're hurting for a hurricane that's going to hit the Texas coast here. It skips a couple of years. Usually like 3 to 5 years we get a good one. But we had a lot of rain maybe a couple last week or a week before. But that tropical storm didn't help either. So we got a lot of rain from that, but it's just like humid. Like it's not even like the temps don't even drop. It's just humid and hot, and it rain, like hot rain is awful.
So do you just sweat all day? Like for
all day.
Yeah.
And then my building is old as crap. So like our air conditioning is like 75, 76 in the building because our ACs are struggling so hard. Yeah. So we have all the lights off. We're living in the dark. So, just the usual animal welfare shit.
Yeah.
At my former shelter, the nursery was kept like could not get below a nice cool 81 degrees with 70% humidity.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But other than that, we're great.
Good.
Just rocking and rolling,
Hey, at least we can breathe again.
I know, man. Like I was like, wildfires. I was like, what catches fire in Wisconsin?
Oh, it's not it's from the boundary waters in Minnesota, and then
you said it wrong.
Canada.
No, she didn't. I love it.
Say Minnesota the right way.
Minnesota.
That's not how the Minnesotians say it.
I'm not Minnesotian.
Well, you're literally right there.
It doesn't
Minnesota.
matter.
That's how they say it.
But so the like air quality report on your phone and stuff,
dude. That's wild.
Like it literally started at the green and it zoomed off the page. Like I watched it and it was just gone because it was like in the 500s.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's like.
I mean, not only like how does that affect the animals that really can't get away from it, but like think about people like that have respiratory issues at home, like even I mean it's
I have asthma and I was still walking those shelter dogs, and you could see the haze inside of the building.
That's
Isn't
nuts.
that wild? Like when it's sugarcane season down in Mexico, when they start burning all the sugarcane and stuff like that, we get all the ashes and stuff. Like it comes
Mm.
back to the state, and yeah, we get that like weird haze, but it never really affects air quality. Yeah, like you can smell that's burning, but that's wild.
Probably, but it's probably because it's more trees and stuff. You got to think about
Yeah,
like
fair enough.
wildfires are houses and things, so
Hmm.
plastics and
Makes
other
sense.
nastiness.
All the great environmental shit that,
Yeah.
just loves
Hmm.
the Mother Earth.
Yeah. Hmm.
Speaking of Mother Earth, we have a big one today. I'm excited because we're going to talk about some really cool animals here in a second. And, I just want to shout out both of y'all because I love that we can bring so many different types of animal welfare to this program. And if you're interested in more animal welfare podcast, check out FeedSpot. You can go to feedspot.com, or the easy way to do it is just search like top animal welfare podcasts. We're only number 8 according to FeedSpot. We have been like I think, weren't we number 1 at one point? I feel like we were. We've moved around a little bit. I'm not sure their algorithm, how they actually grade podcasts, but it's probably up there. So if you're interested in learning more about animal welfare uh,
Hardcast.
podcasts under animal welfare, we're number 8, and then animal rescue, I think we're like number 6. So we're balling a little bit. I'm proud of y'all. Thank you for doing the great work that you're
All of
doing.
us.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
All of y'all hold it down. I'm over here just talking shit. So,
Shut up.
if it wasn't for you, I don't know what I would do. So, outside of that, my dog, I don't understand him. It could be like it's hot, and all he wants to do is be right next to me. I don't. It's just,
Yep.
take a break, boy. That's all I got to say.
Kids are the same way.
Yeah. All right, let's introduce Nikki Sharp. She is the U.S. Executive Director of Wildlife SOS. Nikki, welcome to Keep It Humane podcast.
And thank you for letting me join your group on your show. This is wonderful.
You're welcome. We're excited to have you. And just, I guess, let's just start with what is Wildlife SOS and why is there a
Mhm.
U.S. office? Like, what makes U.S. distinct versus just Executive Director?
Well, Wildlife SOS is, first of all, an organization that works exclusively in India. And the organization got started to address one big problem that had existed in India for hundreds of years. It was the dancing bear problem, which many of your listeners might not be familiar with unless you've actually gone to India and went there like 15 years ago when you might have seen a dancing bear. But it's a problem that had existed countrywide since the Mughal emperor, which is about 300 to 400 years ago. And so the organization wanted to bring this to an end. And so a couple of people in India who were born in India, lived in India, were just like, enough, we're going to do something about this problem. And I had a chance encounter with them, and they told me about what their plan was. And this happened in 2005. And they said, listen, there's been this problem with dancing bears, and in 10 years, we want to see this come to an end. And we have a plan. What we don't have is enough resources, but with enough resources, we can actually achieve this. And so I asked that question that a lot of us ask in welfare, animal welfare. I said, well, what can I do to help? And that question has led me on a path that has been completely devoted to helping wildlife in India.
So you're US based, so how do you help from here?
So there's a lot that I do. And actually, we have a team of people here in the United States who are working. And for one thing, a lot of what happens in India needs a lot of education here in the US. For instance, you can
Mhm.
look at people who want to go to India and ride an elephant.
Hmm.
So this is one problem that is a really horrible problem in India, but it's the problem gets even more complicated because people who are, whether it's the United States or other countries, are thinking, oh, I'd like to go to India, and when I do, I want to ride an elephant. But what they aren't aware of is really all the cruelty that's involved in giving elephant rides. So that's just like one piece of it. Is a lot of what I'm doing is doing the educational component and the fundraising that really helps to make changes in India.
I can't even imagine. Like, if I go to another country, first of all, we have to respect the culture, obviously,
Hmm.
but also respect the animals in that culture, in that area. And that's just not the way to do it. Like, just thinking about that just makes me feel so icky.
Right, right. Well, and I think people, they say they love elephants, for example, and
Mhm.
but I don't think most people understand what is happening to elephants
Mm.
in that country. And so it'll be on people's bucket list. Oh, I really want to love ride an elephant because I love elephants. But once you start explaining to people really what's involved in that elephant that you might get that selfie with or have that encounter with, that elephant has gone through a lot of suffering for it to be like ready to be ridden by people. So it's a wild animal, and to make a wild animal that's 10,000 pounds afraid of people or easy to ride, a lot has to go into making that animal so fearful or experience so much pain that they basically give up and allow people to get on their backs and ride them.
Sounds like some jobs I've
You
worked
do
in
you
my career.
think that um the documentary Tiger King
Mm.
helped or hindered your
Wildlife conservation.
yeah.
I think all of that stuff is hurting conservation. I
Mm.
mean,
Mm.
there's just so much that I believe people they don't understand what these animals go through that are in captivity. They don't really see what is happening. Like for an elephant to be ridden and kept by people, that elephant goes through a process called fajan. That animal is taken from the wild. So every elephant you see in India that is being used for rides, almost every single one of them was taken from the wild. So like this whole concept of people want to protect wild elephants. Well, if you want to protect wild elephants, you have to do what we can to prevent them from being used in captivity, because they're taken and then they go through this process that is basically the breaking of the spirit. And this breaking of the spirit makes them basically never fight when they're forced to do things they don't want to do. And so I think like a lot of what we do is we try to educate people, and it's working. So there are a lot of places in India that a lot of people would want to experience an elephant ride, and now people are aware. They're telling their travel agency, "Listen, I want to go to India, but I'm aware that there are problems with the way elephants are being kept in captivity. So what can I do that is humane?" And still I can have maybe an elephant experience or an elephant encounter. So we're giving people the tools to ask the right questions.
Now, I know, a lot of times when, organizations go into other countries and, a lot of this is rooted in their culture. How did Wildlife SOS kind of encounter the culture that, this might have, um, how do I word this? The culture, something that's been in their culture for such a long time. How did they combat that in letting them know, hey, this is not humane. We need to do something about it.
I think the best example is with the dancing bear problem. So when you speak about the culture, the people who were dancing the bears, that's the only life they knew. It's what their fathers did, their
Mhm.
grandfathers did, and you could go back many, many, many generations and find that the only thing that people did in their families was dance bears. But they still lived in absolute poverty.
Mm.
So if you gave them another vocation that they could make more money than they did dancing bears, they saw this as an opportunity. So a lot of this isn't as much cultural as it is, I don't know how else to support my family. This is the only thing we've ever known to do. So one of the reasons why this program worked so well, and I don't think I've mentioned this yet, but we were able to bring the dancing bear problem to an end. There is no more dancing bears in India. And this happened not because of going and arresting people, because there were laws preventing this. It was because we worked with the people to find alternative vocations and livelihoods. And those new livelihoods, they were making 2, 3, sometimes 4 times what they were making dancing bears on the streets. So I think that is really what we do, is we don't go and tell people what they're doing is wrong. And this started within India. So this isn't a bunch of like people from the West going to India and saying, okay, what can we do? It's like people within India who really wanted to create this change. And what we've done from like the United States is bring resources to support those changes. And so this is why I believe that this problem has come to an end, and it will stay, and it will no longer come back, because the children, they haven't been exposed to dancing bears. Now they have new dreams of their own. They go to school and now they think about, well, what do I want to be? And none of them are thinking, I want to go out and dance bears. They're all thinking about different like businesses they might want to start, or be educators themselves. So I do think this is such a big piece of the solution. And when we look at addressing problems around the world, we really have to involve the communities where these problems exist.
One of the quotes that is thrown around in animal welfare quite a bit is the greatness of a nation can be judged by the way, or the greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated. And you look at India, and I don't know much of it. I've never visited. I would love to visit. So if you guys want to send Keep It Humane the podcast there to do an in-person, we'll be happy to do that. However, where I'm going with this is what I know about the culture. I mean, the cow is sacred, right? Animals are are highly valued in some way, but then you also have this combination of what you're talking about with the dancing bears or the elephants being treated a certain way, or look at the street dog population that is there, the high
rabies incidents.
Yes, the high rabies, exactly. So how do you package everything together that show, okay, animals are equal, they're all equal to each other, they're all equal to, people may not like this that I'm about to make, but in a sense equal to humans in a way that they do deserve to be treated fairly. They do deserve to have, humane care, etc. And so how do you as an organization, I guess, push that it's not just about the bears or the elephants, it's about all walks?
Well, what I find impressive about India is really there is an ethic that I don't see really anywhere else, that involves an attitude about actually caring about all animals out there. And you see this in laws. Sometimes they're not necessarily enforced the way they should be, but for instance, in India, there is no hunting allowed. So other places in the world, you can see, to combat poverty, they allow like trophy hunting. This would never happen in India. And even though they have a lot of poverty to deal with and a huge population, what you see is the government is working to bring back species that have been on the decline, like rhinos and tigers. And
Bears, oh my.
Yes, I know. And
Bishop.
and you do see in certain laws too, like we see like there are organizations in the US that are trying to bring personhood to elephants. And there are some states that have declared personhood to rivers. There are states that have now declared personhood to elephants. Now, I don't really see a lot happening with that, but it's
what that means though. Like, what is personhood?
Just that personhood, it's not declaring that something is human, but what they are declaring is that they have all the rights of an individual and that need to be considered. So the rivers, we can't just be polluting them, that they have to be treated with respect, and the things that are happening to elephants cannot be owned. They have their individual rights. So it's a start that I think is a philosophy that is growing and is accepted. I do think there are challenges with implementing some of these ideas, but the fact is they are happening. And I do think
Mhm.
it's happening because I do think within the country, there is a larger sense of wanting to protect the animals that live there. And I do see that one of the first things I noticed when I went to India was I don't eat meat, and when I go to restaurants, you always have to find that one item on the
Oh,
menu
tell me about it. Trust.
that doesn't have that
Yeah, y'all
doesn't
ladies over there, y'all don't know what we're talking about. Over this, the struggle is real.
the
Sorry,
I bet
struggle.
it is. I completely respect it. I'm sure it's hard.
it is.
And what I noticed when my first visit was that there were a lot of most of the restaurants you had non-veg options. Like if you wanted to eat meat, you had to find a restaurant that advertised non-veg options because everything else was basically assumed it was a vegetarian restaurant. And to me, that was just kind of like a very fascinating difference between when I took off in the United States and when I landed in India.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I guess even thinking to the Indian restaurants that we have around here that are finally popping up because we're not a very diverse group up here in Wisconsin. Northern
Steak and
Wisconsin.
potatoes and cheese. That's pretty much all you get?
And beef. Lots of beef.
Lots of beef. Lots of beef.
But there is a lot of options even at the Indian restaurants for vegetarian or non-meat options. So I
And I
guess I
think a lot of the
correlated that.
yes. And so it is interesting the difference and cows are protected and I work with a sister organization out there that helps dogs, cats, donkeys, cows, and what a lot of these animals need to be rescued because they've been hit by by cars. And I remember hearing this story recently about one of the cows. The team went out to help and they loaded it up in an ambulance and they got attacked by vigilantes who thought they were taking the cow somewhere to slaughter it. So there were a lot of people out there very, very protective of the cows, and the cows just kind of wander wherever they want to go, and everybody drives around them. And so yeah, they it's very different in terms of the approach and the attitude towards animals. And I hear what you're saying that there are rising incidences of things like rabies, but I feel like the whole concept of community pets has always been something I've noticed that seems to be an area where I've been impressed, where people don't have a lot, but they'll take care of the animals that are in their community. They'll feed them, and maybe no one really has one as a pet, but everybody basically looks after the animals that are in the area.
It's almost like imagine having community cows. You got community cows. Like
Yeah, community cows.
that. I might have to get
It'd
a
be a
whole
great
new set of.
t-shirt.
I might have to get a whole new set of tattoos on the other leg there, ladies. Whole new set, community cows. What what is like, I guess moving forward, obviously the Dancing Bear program is shut down. We're not doing that anymore in India.
Hmm.
What's next for Wildlife SOS? Like I feel like this is maybe just the tip of the iceberg. I feel there's so much more to be done.
So our focus now is working with elephants. And there was a census done of the number of captive elephants there are in India that came out, I want to say around 2020. And it showed that there are about 2,700 elephants living in captivity. And most of these elephants are not in good shape. There's some that are fine, but a lot of them are chained and are just deprived of all the things that they need to be healthy and have good welfare. So we have launched a program. We don't feel like we can address rescuing all of those 2,700 elephants, but we have created a pretty large sanctuary now. And our focus is on rescuing what are termed begging elephants in India. And there are about 300 begging elephants when we first started this program about a year ago. And our goal is a 5-year goal to get all of the begging elephants off the streets in India.
I'm just laughing. I'm sorry. And this
Wow.
is probably so bad. I picture in my head, because we have, a lot of people that are experiencing homelessness. And I just picture an elephant on the street corner with a sign saying, "We'll work for peanuts."
Yeah.
Essentially,
Or using their trunk to dumpster dive.
essentially what you're saying, like, is it true? Like they just come and beg for food? Is that why they get the name begging?
Well, they get the name begging because they'll have somebody who basically rents them
Mhm.
out for
Oh,
services from day to
okay.
Mhm.
day. So maybe one day they'll be sent to a wedding ceremony. Maybe another day they'll be used for hauling something heavy. So they are really the group of elephants that in my opinion, are the ones that are in the worst condition. They spend the most amount of time like walking on streets in chains, and they are isolated. Especially female elephants are very social, so it's very hard
Mhm.
for them. It's a very hard life. And so it's always difficult for me to quite explain what a begging elephant is to people who have never been to India. But when you see pictures of elephants in the cities, those are begging elephants.
Got it.
What happens to the animals that you all receive that are rescued, so to say? Like, do you all have a sanctuary? Is there a hospital set up for each species that y'all help?
So we started India's first elephant hospital, and we actually have a second one that we are building right now.
Amazing.
But yeah, as we started taking in elephants, we started realizing all the things we needed to properly care for the elephants. And that included one of my favorite stories is there is this one elephant, her name is Lakshmi. She was one of the first elephants we rescued. And her problem was that she was really, really obese and she could hardly walk. But we
Oh,
needed to get her on a truck in order to get her to our facility. And so they had to bring in a crane to lift this elephant. And the
wow.
pictures of this elephant being lifted on the crane are just ridiculous. And we
Mhm.
realized at that time, well, we need to have a better way to transport elephants because all the way to the sanctuary, she was putting her trunk through the window of the driver and trying to grab the steering wheel. And we were like, we're like, this is not good. We need to have a better system. So we went and we designed an ambulance, and now we have an ambulance that has a ramp so elephants can like walk up the ramp and get into the ambulance. And
What?
but we do have a sanctuary and we are constantly expanding it. And right now we're in a position that we can take in up to maybe 50 more elephants because we just expanded to this new large area. But
Wow.
it's not just having the space, you really have to have people who know what they're doing. Because these elephants, they come with abscesses, they come with gangrene in their feet sometimes, they come with blindness, they come with so many emotional scars that we can't just take them and put them on land and think we've done our job. So much of what we need to do is we have to invest a lot of resources in having the right people that are able to help with rehabilitating these animals. And that can be the rest of their life sometimes.
I just put a picture of the ambulance in the chat.
I
These
was
things are
looking,
amazing.
I was trying to find it actually. Let me see. I didn't.
I found it.
Oh, wow.
It's
If
so
you need a
cool.
driver, if you need a driver for that, you just let me know. I'll be first on the plane to
Now that
India.
we have an ambulance, then you don't have to worry about an elephant's trunk coming in and grabbing the
Yeah,
steering wheel.
I'll be there in 36 hours. Can we? India is also known for the Bengal, the tiger, right?
Hmm.
Is there any work that you do around that? I know for a while I mean, it still is, right? Like they're not an endangered species, right? Are they a protected?
They are an endangered
It's
species.
still
Okay.
endangered. Hmm.
Yes. And so to answer your question, yes, we do work with tigers. Probably the biggest threat right now to them is still poaching.
Jeez.
Mm.
And although there
Ah.
isn't any legal hunting in India, there is still illegal poaching going on. And as a matter of fact, just 2 days ago, we had a big wildlife bust because we do have this program called Forest Watch that works to prevent or capture poachers. And they didn't capture anybody with tiger skins, but they did capture people with about 10 leopard skins. So the same people who are poaching leopards are often the same people who are going to be poaching tigers as well. So that's a big part of what we're doing, is doing a lot of the anti-poaching work that keep tigers safe in the forest.
Are there groups that, we had a guest on a couple episodes ago, talk about whale wars, where they would
Mm-hmm.
go out and stop the whale hunting. Are there groups too that like maybe are kind of organizations that go out and look for these poachers as well and try to stop them from illegally poaching some of these animals?
Yes, and so much of like that's a lot of what we do, and it's not just what you think of in terms of like tiger poaching and leopard poaching. There's so much poaching of smaller animals that people often don't think about, like
Mm-hmm.
tortoises and birds
Mm-hmm.
and even pythons. So when you have like a network of informants, a lot of times they're getting information about all sorts of different species, and they know the different routes that are being used to try to transport them over. A lot of them are going through Nepal to China. But basically, it takes years to develop these networks. But we do have a pretty solid network throughout India that is like tracking these poachers that are working throughout, throughout different ecosystems and really trying to profit on any animal that they can.
How's this a thing still? Like, I just don't understand. We're in year 2026. How is it
But
a thing?
But the good thing is there is a lot of progress for instance, rhinos, the Indian rhino, their numbers were dwindling, but the government has gotten very, very serious about protecting the rhinos, and their numbers are rebounding. And they do have a shoot to kill in some of the parks. If they feel like
Nice.
anyone is in that park who
Trying
doesn't
to
belong there.
trying to hunt the rhinos?
Yep,
Okay.
exactly. Not just rhinos, but I think illegal fishing. I think there's a lot that they are allowed to do to protect their parks. They're very, very serious about not allowing poaching to be established there.
So
That's
they're
fantastic.
hunting the hunters.
Yeah.
Well, if
Love
you
it.
need anybody, like I said, I'm only 36 hours away, so I'm just saying, like, if you run short on people trying to like help protect
How-
these animals, so
How's your shot, Dan?
not good, but I'll run up on somebody.
No, you won't. You'll get taken out by a poodle.
That's a story for another day. Uh, this is fantastic. Nikki, what else? Is there anything else you want to share before we get into one of our favorite segments of Keep It Humane, the podcast?
Well, I just want your listeners to know if they'd like to know more about what we're doing to help elephants, or if they're thinking about visiting India, I asked them to check out our website, refusetoride.org. And with that, we have a lot of information that people can read about that can help educate them about understanding the things that need to avoid and why they need to avoid certain places if they're going to India. We do understand people want to see elephants, but we say go to places where you could see a wild elephant. And
Mhm.
there's just too many shady places that claim that they are eco-tourist places for visitors to go to, and they claim that they have rescued elephants. And I do think they confuse people who are trying to do the right thing. So go to our website and just become a little bit more informed, or go to our wildlifesos.org website.
Perfect. That's fantastic.
Yeah, there's so much good information, guys. Honestly, this is God, some of the pictures on Refuse to Ride is just heartbreaking. Ugh, absolutely heartbreaking.
It is. And
Yeah.
it's great that there's people out there doing the work, because if you think about these things just go on constantly and it's somewhat unregulated, and so having groups that can come in and really be a voice is super important.
Mm.
All right, it's time. Nikki, here on the show, Keep It Humane podcast, we like to do a thing called "What Does AI Know About Our Guest?" Just because it's kind of fun. Like we've talked with you, we've had some back and forth, but we want to see how accurate AI is on knowing who people are. So your career journey has worked in animal welfare for nearly 30 years. This is from ChatGPT, by the way. Beginning in companion animal welfare with puppy mill campaigns and large-scale pet adoption events before moving into wildlife conservation. Is that correct?
Yes.
Wow. Where'd you do the puppy mill stuff?
I worked for Best Friends.
What?
Yeah.
Well, that's another episode. You are in Utah, so I get it.
I am in Utah,
Very cool.
but not quite 30 years, but close-ish. I was a physical
No,
therapist.
don't ruin it. I have more. I have
Oh,
more.
okay.
I have more. I just wanted to stop there. She trained as a physical therapist. Her background in physical therapy, her background is in physical therapy, and she has trained. Wait, let me just do this again because I just messed that all up.
Yeah, you did.
I got too excited because she was burying the lead. She trained as a physical therapist. Her background is in physical therapy, and she has said that training taught her to focus on measurable outcomes and approach she now applies to conservation. Building an international nonprofit, Nikki met the founders of Wildlife SOS in 2004. Inspired by their mission, she helped establish Wildlife SOS USA, building support for conservation efforts in India. Excuse me. Leadership and storytelling. Rather than working in field rescues, Nikki specializes in nonprofit leadership, fundraising, public outreach, and education. She also hosts the Elephant Tales podcast, interviewing veterinarians, researchers, and conservationists. Personal philosophy. Nikki believes lasting conversations depends. Let me do that again too, because my brain is, yeah. Personal philosophy. Nikki believes lasting conversations depend on helping both people and animals, measuring success through long-term impact rather than individual rescues. So that's kind of you in a short nutshell from ChatGPT. I hope it was pretty accurate.
I think that was pretty accurate.
That's good. Talk to me about the physical therapy stuff. Do you do any of it still, or is it just something like a mental, something you just keep mentally with you?
In terms of physical therapy, I'm not currently practicing, but I do keep my license up, which means I got to do a lot of courses every 2 years to make sure that I'm still current on, physical therapy practice knowledge. And I would say that a lot of friends and neighbors are always like wandering over to me to say, "Oh, I hurt myself on a bicycle accident." So,
Oh,
so
you got hit by
once
a
a physical
dog and you
therapist,
ran away?
yeah, once a physical therapist, always a physical therapist. And so, yeah, I'm always kind of
Do you, okay,
just.
when you visit the elephants, do you ever try to do physical therapy on them just for fun?
Do you know, I don't do physical therapy for fun, but I do think I'm always probably annoying the veterinarians because I'm giving my 2 cents about what I think they should be doing. We had an elephant, a baby. Her name is Bonnie, but when she got rescued when she was 1 year old,
Oh,
she
wow.
was hit by a train.
Ah,
She was a wild elephant, and in that instance, she lost her mother because her mother was killed.
Jeez.
She lost her herd, and she was paralyzed.
Oh,
And when she came to our center, I just had a lot of opinions about what we needed to be doing to try to help her get on her feet again. So I do feel like, in a lot of ways, having that background has helped me to understand when there are certain problems that our elephants are dealing with. I understand it in such a way of like, okay, what is realistic? What is a realistic outcome? If she has a spinal cord injury,
mm.
versus if she's got different types of injuries that are more musculoskeletal, that I was like, okay, these are the kinds of problems I think we can really, really work to resolve. So it's been very interesting watching the different elephants that we get because a lot of them have wound issues, and with physical therapy, you learn a lot about wound care. And so I have a very probably strong understanding about what they need to go through in order to rehabilitate and be healthy elephants.
Before we wrap up, do you have a story that like you always hear about elephants are so smart and have the, great memories. Do you have a story that like you can share that yes, like you've met an elephant one time and then the next time you saw it, whether it was 30 days, 60 days, 90 days later, it totally remembered you, and what does that like look like?
Well, I think my best story about seeing an elephant and then having some time go by and then seeing them again isn't quite about their memory, but more about their ability to heal and how we should never give up on them. Because there was this one elephant, his name is Suraj. He had spent 40 to 50 years in a temple, chained, never got out of that temple. And we were able to rescue him. And I saw him about a week after he was rescued. And the team had to put up a green screen around him because he had never been outside before and everything was scaring him. And when I saw him, I was wondering, I'm like, is he just too broken to ever recover? And I was really worried and very anxious about what his recovery was going to look like. And I came back about 4 or 5 months later, and I saw this elephant walking down this path, just kind of taking his time. And he was with one of our mahouts, who's basically an elephant caregiver. And the person I was standing with, I asked him, I'm like, who's that elephant who's coming up on that path? And he said, oh, that's Suraj. And I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it was the same elephant that we had to put a screen around because he could not tolerate the sounds, the sights, everything was scaring him. And when I looked at him, he was out for a 5, 6 mile walk
Nice.
and just enjoying the day. And I realized then that we should never ever give up on any one of these guys, even if it's been 40, 50 years and you think, okay, what kind of life can I offer them? I realize they're all worth all the time and energy and resources to have a better life. And it's never too late.
That's amazing. Absolutely. I would have probably cried a little bit on that trail if I seen that. I would
Yeah.
have been excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, this has been a wonderful show. We really appreciate you taking the time. And, as we like to tell our guests, if there's ever anything you need out there, you need us to share with our listeners, we're more than happy to do that. Just, send an email, send a text or whatever, and we'll make sure to get it on the show. If you have something you want to come back to discuss, by all means, please, we'd love to have you back.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, for sure. As we like to say, let's continue to help people
Help animals.
and keep it humane.
Keep it humane.
Elephants are cool.